So what is membership development? In the past, the emphasis has been on attracting new members. We've learned that really the main issue with Rotary membership is not bringing people in, it's retaining those members. So number one is, how do you retain members in your club? So the next one, certainly attracting new members, because without new members, you're out of business in a lot of different ways. And I've sat through a lot of training classes over the past 5 years in learning about membership development. I can tell you it's complex. It interacts with many, many parts of the functions of your clubs, and it impacts so many aspects of your club. Really, really, really what it comes down to, though, is inspiring your membership to participate in membership, to be willing to go out in the world and talk about Rotary. And it really is that complicated. It's not simple. My club, we're 200 members approximately. Less than 20 of us bring in members. I mean, come on, really? If half our club would bring in some people, we would be 300 in no time. But that participation is really, really difficult to do. So, in fact, if you leave with nothing else, leave with that thought. Leave with that thought. Think about what can you do to inspire people to not just put their name back in the box and Rotary's over for the week. To be out there and talk about Rotary in their business, at their churches, their social functions. And guess what? It will magically, you'll discover that there's members out there that want to be Rotarians. They just don't know it yet. All right.
So in a few moments, I'm going to put up on the screen behind me here a series of clues. Now, these clues relate to 4 brands that have filed for bankruptcy in fairly spectacular and embarrassing fashion in recent years. And when you've guessed all 4 defunct brands, I want you to yell out nice and loud the word bingo. The thing, those 4 brands, if you think about it, are a long way from being unique. I mean, over the last few years, we've seen one after another of some of the world's most iconic, successful brands fall off the perch. Okay, here on the screen are a collection of other brands, and that's just a few. Brands that are either bankrupt, have declared bankruptcy, trying to come out of that position, or are sort of on their way there very quickly. And there are a number of brands that really stand out, of course. And one of the ones that really stands out to me there is the brand of BlackBerry. Do you know, to give you an idea, here in the US, in January 2010, BlackBerry had 43% market share. Now, as of currently, at the moment, it's now about 1.3% market share. I mean, that is how quickly a brand or a business can go from hot to not. 2 key questions that have consistently fascinated me as I've worked with clients over the last 10 years. And these 2 questions will form the basis of what we're going to discuss this morning in this session. The first question is, why are so many of the world's most iconic businesses becoming obsolete so quickly at the moment? The second question I think is far more interesting, and it has huge implications for us in the world of Rotary. And it's the question of what separates the enduring from the endangered. Because for every one of these brands or businesses, you can find a competitor in the same market space, facing the same changes, the same conditions, that's going from strength to strength. So what do they do differently? We're going to look at the first question first this morning, this question of why do the mighty fall? Because here's the thing, even though these brands are in very different industries, very different products, the thing they all have in common, one thing that is consistent for all, is if you look at their relevance over time, it follows a remarkably consistent pattern or cycle. It's one that looks like this, a typical sort of bell-shaped curve broken up into 4 different phases. And I want to step through this model here. I want you to think right now, based on this curve, where is your club? But also if we zoom out, where is Rotary as a macro brand? And we'll come back to that thought shortly. But let's have a look. I mean, in the early stages of any new business, any new organisation, typically in the early stages, relevance is low because you're still trying to figure out not just who you are, but who your target market are. Any of you that have started a business know about the early stages of a new business. It's the fake it till you make it stage. You really don't know what you're doing. But of course, as time goes on and you become more strategic, more deliberate, your relevance gradually grows. And if you keep doing the right things long enough, you reach the first trigger on this curve, a trigger called the tipping point. And some of you will be familiar with that book. The point where momentum kicks in. Suddenly, people start to notice you. In the business world, suddenly your competitors start to rip off your ideas. That's when you know you're really starting to gather pace, okay, because you're no longer flying under the radar. Now, as you keep going up this second phase here, you know when you get to the top, this point up here, this is the zone that Derek Zoolander would probably call the so hot right now stage for any brand or any organisation. And this is the point where you are highly relevant, winning awards. There is almost a natural momentum. Everything you do just seems to work. And you think of some brands that are in this space right now. I would think a brand like Zara, IKEA would be in this zone. I'd think Samsung would certainly be in that so hot right now zone. Interesting aside, are Apple. Are Apple as hot, as relevant as they were 2, 3, 4 years ago? I'm watching, of course, the release of the iPhone 6 and some of the hype that has somewhat felt more hollow this time. I don't know if you got that same sense. Okay, that's a really interesting question. But here's the thing. This so hot right now zone, we are highly relevant. While it is fun, incredibly exciting, in the business world, of course, it's very profitable. Can I put it to you, it is the single most dangerous, single most vulnerable time on this curve. Because when you are highly relevant, achieving great success, man, there is a huge temptation to start to throttle back, start to rest on your laurels. A dangerous dynamic starts to unfold, a dynamic I call the intoxication of success. Can I urge all of you, whether you're thinking Rotary or in your own business life, beware the intoxicating effects of success. Because there's this sense often that we're so big, so successful, we've got to figure it out. And what tends to unfold is a dangerous blend of complacency and arrogance. You know, the old saying is true, the moment you think you've made it, you've passed it. And what tends to happen is organizations, brands, businesses get to this point where they're at the top, highly relevant, achieving great results, massive numbers, worldwide reach, and they start to coast. And if you coast long enough, you'll pass a second trigger on this curve, a trigger called the turning point. And you will know the moment you've passed the turning point in an organization. Some of you probably experienced this in business. Because there'll be this internal gnawing sense that the effortless momentum you used to have just sort of isn't there anymore. You're going through the motions, doing the same stuff, but now it often feels like a bit of a dull drudgery. Okay, often businesses will describe this as feeling like they've lost their mojo. What you're noticing, though, is actually you're in the early stages of losing relevance in the marketplace. Now, most leaders, watch this, at this point, leaders tend to click into a mode that we call denial. There's this sense that, well, if we just keep doing what we've always done, we'll keep getting what we've always got, and it's a false assumption. And typically we stay in that mode until about here. And this is a point on the curve that is like that crisis point. You know, suddenly you have a bad month, then it's a bad quarter, then it's been a bad year. And then in business, you look back and go, man, it's been a really difficult decade. Now, of course, from a Rotary perspective, suddenly you realize that your numbers each week are dropping off. People aren't as committed as they used to be. You have district conferences, and you used to get 1,000 people, now you get 600. And you market the same way, you're doing the same stuff, and you're like, why aren't people coming the way they used to? Now, this point of crisis, while it's terrifying, can I suggest to you it is an absolute gift. Now, the saying is true, necessity is the mother of invention. Man, when the times get tough and the wheels fall off, we get pretty creative as human beings. And if at this point you play your cards right, you can start turning this around, start regaining relevance. But if you do nothing at the point of crisis, or you do the wrong things, you continue on the downward slide past the third and final trigger here, a trigger called the tanking point, okay, and eventually become completely and utterly obsolete. Knocked out of the game. Now, you think from a business perspective, Kodak took 131 years to go through this cycle as a photographics brand. Atari took about 23 years. MySpace took 9 to go through this cycle. But here's the thing, this cycle doesn't just apply to businesses or brands. It applies to, any of you that are students of history would know that every civilization, every empire has gone through, of course, exactly the same cycle. You see this cycle in social institutions, trade unions, for instance, political parties. Many mainstream churches right now are struggling with some of the challenges here. But if you think from a Rotary perspective, let's look at the macro Rotary brand. This is a very problematic question. Where would you place Rotary on this curve? And that depends, really. It depends on which country you're looking at. One of the mature markets like the US, Australia, Canada, the UK, or do you look at Korea or India, for instance? If you drill right down to a local club level, this is the really challenging question. Where is your club right now on this curve?
I'd like to engage you real quick and find out from you how many of you have seen an initiative in your club to actually go out and talk about Rotary to the community. How many have done that? How many have gotten into a position of having their membership committee work diligently with not only the members that are there, but the new members that come in from the standpoint of plugging them in to Rotary, into different aspects of Rotary?
Well,
When I
let me
say-
stop you right. First, you gotta have a membership committee.
Okay, well, so there's some that don't have a membership committee.
And frankly,
Okay.
how many have a membership committee?
Okay, yes, how many have a membership committee? That's a good question.
If you don't have one, make one.
That's where you gotta start.
Yes, absolutely.
Be more than one
So,
person.
what do we need to do? What do we need to do? Be not afraid to fail. That's the very first thing that you have to put in your mind. If you don't have a membership committee, then when you get in your meetings, you need to talk to your members and get up and say, I have an announcement. We need to recruit more members. I need somebody to help me do that. Everybody in the club is on the membership committee. I asked that question for a reason. Everybody in your club is on the membership committee. Every member is a membership committee chairman, not a chairperson, but a person on that committee. And be not afraid to try. Try new things, try innovative things, or just come up with a good idea and perpetuate that through the club. Okay, so let's talk about the process. First thing we need to do is to assess our club's needs. Now, I know we got a couple of PEs in here. How many PEs we got in this class? 1, 2, 3? Okay. So, when you come into the office of president, you want to make sure, at least to a minimum, that you do not lose more members than you started out with. That's an objective, David. So, what are you gonna do? Where do you put your emphasis? Yeah, where do you put your emphasis? Your emphasis should be in making sure that your club understands that there are needs, and we do have a problem in bringing in new members district-wide, but we're gonna help you with that today. So, assessing the need of your club really makes a big difference. How do you assess it? What kind of tools do you have to assess it? Well, there are club assemblies that you could have. There are different things you can do within the different committees to bring up that concept of membership, to make sure that everybody is on board with that, because Rotary is about bringing people together to perform service above self and to bring a lot of goodwill to our world. So that alone gives you the motivation to get out there and do something about bringing in new members. It does for me. Determine where your club is. Most people, when they get in the club, they don't really know, actually have a good appreciation about membership, because it's like, if you got 30 members and you can keep 30 members, you're happy with it and everybody's socializing and everything, but Rotary is about growing. We have a tremendous mission that we have to accomplish. We're that close to eradicating what? Polio. Absolutely. And we need boots on the ground to help us in this initiative. And there's a little, has anybody ever done an elevator speech?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Can someone give me an example real quick of the elevator speech? This is a real quick speech, real quick. You want to do it right?
Yes. Good morning. My name is Randy Watkins. I'm with Academy Mortgage. I appreciate you letting me come in today. Just a little bit about me. I'm a retired Marine, and the company that we work with focuses a lot on VA loans. That's kind of my specialty. So I try to help veterans when they're looking to purchase a home. Once again, my name is Randy Watkins with Academy Mortgage. Thank you.
Anybody got a rotary?
A rotary, elevator speech? Anybody?
Anybody? Go ahead.
Real quick. Hey, I see that you enjoy service, volunteering. I'd love to introduce you to Rotary. Please come to one of our meetings, give me a call. Thanks for your time. It's one floor in an elevator. That may be all the time you got, but if you're at a volunteer deal and you're doing other things, you haven't got much time. What you want to do is get 20, 30, 40 minutes with them and introduce it. That's all the elevator speech is to do, is to get you to that 20, 30 minutes.
How about this one? How about this? Hi, I noticed that you're involved in a lot of things. Let me invite you to a meeting. Come as my guest, a lunch meeting or whatever. And I would like to introduce you to something that I think you will be very appreciative of. Dynamic organization, and we're not trying to sell you anything. I just need you to come to the meeting. It's your choice as to what you would like to do after the meeting, but there's no pressure, and I think you will enjoy being with us. Something to that effect. Here's yours.
Ernest, when a club has an event, that's just not with the club. Do your members ask somebody at the event to come to a Rotary Club meeting, or are they interested? Or do you do anything that designates that you're a Rotary Club member? And I'll use an example, because my best recruiting tool is with blood drives. I don't care what you guys think. We got the Collin College kids, we do the blood drives there, we do Port Richards, and your club members helped at the last one. That's my best place to get a member. If you don't let people know that you exist, nobody's gonna find you in today's environment.
Absolutely, George. Absolutely. So let's plan where our club wants to go. That's the next thing in development. Plan where your club wants to go. And then, once you get that plan together, you need to learn the tools to get your club there. And that is a very, very in-depth discussion that membership from a district standpoint can come in and help with. Or if you have some good membership people in your club, you can get to that point of learning what tools you need to get for your club to get to a point where you want to be. Everybody should have a membership goal. It should be a number that you want to get to. And if you exceed that number, fantastic. But set an aggressive number. Don't set like a little minimum number. We want to grow by 3 people. At minimum, try to make it at least 10. You say, Rich, would that be okay? 10? Minimally 10 to grow.
Depends on what size club.
That's double the size of some clubs.
And then that would probably be, if we could get half the district to do that, we would be far more ahead than where we are currently at this time. Turn it over to
Yes.
Randy.
Okay, so there's some great resources that we can use. One of the resources that you were actually given when you came in today is the handout that you have. It actually lists out a lot of different membership development resources available to you. A lot of them are available actually on the district website. There's a membership development tab right there. And when everyone signed in today, we'll have your email. What we're going to be doing is sending out an email with a lot of the links that help you get right where you need to be. Because the paper you have in front of you is in black and white, but you really need the link. It'll just save you time. I hope it'll help speed up getting you to that. But one of the district resources is Club Runner, your membership development homepage. That's where we have so many tools that you have in there. There's membership development guides. Howard has done an amazing job over the last few years of basically building out a toolbox there for you. If you go on to Rotary District 5810, you'll see there's actually a membership development tab right there. and that's how you click to get to it. Rotary International's website, Rotary Club Central. For the people who are presidents this year, you're really paying attention if you're working towards your presidential citation, because it's now automated through Rotary Club Central. I actually heard them talking to class a little earlier. You go in and you can actually see exactly where you're deficient in meeting your criteria for the presidential citation. But there's also a lot of great membership development tools available through Rotary Club Central as well.
What's the deadline for that?
April 1st. So what they've basically done is given you 9 months to reach 12 months worth of goals, because if you don't hit it by March 31st, you won't receive your presidential citation. And the two things that are the big ticket items for me personally is membership and your fundraising, because those are two things that normally you have 3 more months to hit those final goals, but they've chopped you down by 3 months this year. So you really have to front load it. They want to make sure that if you're going to hit it, you do. So I know we have a push on for one more member, because that's the only thing we're lacking. Yes.
But the goals you set do not affect your presidential citation.
No, they have criteria in there of what you got to hit.
Specific criteria for presidential citation, the goals you put in Club Runner are your personal goals. They do not affect presidential citation.
Right.
You're right.
There's specific items that are highlighted in there, but like membership, you got to hit 3 of the 4 that are in there
Yeah,
if
but
you want to make it.
But you can set your goals over here, like you say, 10 members, but you can make a presidential citation with 1 or 2.
Right.
Net.
Because
Net positive.
Net positive.
Yes. Just the fact of putting goals in there is one of the
Yeah.
tickets, which is something you got to do. And if people aren't using Rotary Club Central, feel free to reach out to me, because I'm very comfortable with it, and I'm happy to walk anybody through getting logged in, because it'll just help make you a little bit more effective.
And Randy, how do we reach you?
My email address, just take my cell phone number, that's the easiest, 214-684-1164.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Let me interject a quick point here, if I might, Randy. On Rotary Club Central, I believe all members have access to each individual's club's information. What you will find there is some interesting data. Now, it's garbage in, garbage out. If president after president after president doesn't see to it that that information is input, you won't have anything that valid. However, what you can get is, at the very least, is the basic trends, okay? So you saw the district trend. I took a report that RI has for district, and I turned it into that very, very simple graph just to be able to make a point there. You can see the same point about your club. You can also see about your demographics if people input that data. If they don't, then some of these resources here gives you the tools to be able to go out and get that data in your club. I really, really think it's important to know that information. Age demographics is huge. I mean, if you're 90% over 70, you got a problem. You're almost out of business.
Yeah, you're taking,
You are tanking.
definitely.
And getting young guys like this guy right here, or this lovely lady here, into a club of octogenarians is a challenge. Okay? So, sorry, Randy.
No worries. The thing that I think will be most valuable is the multi-club membership development training. From the district, and not that we're coming down to say how to do anything, but we're happy to come out and work with clubs. We'd like to get 2 or 3 clubs that are local together, because you can go to any specific club and there'll be 5 or 6 people who are interested in membership development. But if you don't, I personally feel that if you don't interact with people from other clubs to get new ideas and see what's working and what's not working, it doesn't have as much impact for your membership. So what we're happy to do is set up a time to come out. You tell us when. My schedule's flexible. I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about chasing them around. I'll come to you. Exactly. I will come to you, and I'm happy to help, share what I'm seeing in other clubs, or just answer questions, or help get online. Whatever I can do to help make your club get to your goals, I'm happy to do that.
I'll share children and grandchildren with you. You know.
That's all right.
You're on your own.
All right. And that's pretty much it.